Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program. This is Chris, live in central Pennsylvania on Sunday, December 7th, a date that will live in infamy according to President Franklin Roosevelt. December 7th, 1941, 84 years ago today. Sorry, I got some hair here somewhere. 84 years ago today, the Japanese Imperial Naval Forces attacked our station at Pearl Harbor, hoping to sink our battleships, our aircraft carriers. Our aircraft carriers. And unfortunately for the Japanese, those three, the Saratoga and the others, were out at sea, and so they were unable to sink them. But nonetheless, they killed 2,403 American service members that day and also injured several thousand others. So welcome back to the... Why is this saying sign in? What's this sign in the chat? Sorry. Weird. I got a new message over here. It wasn't there before. Anyway, so today's December 7th, the anniversary of the Pearl Harbor bombing and the thing that forced the United States into the Second World War. Let's talk about the refugee chat here, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Great to see you all here. This will be an abbreviated one. You'll be redirected from this one to an interview with a real live refugee. Fonz is in Colorado, and he will be up after this. So I'm going to redirect you to that. So stick around, back-to-back streams here, and you'll get to that one. So I hope you like the new marquee for the refugee chat. So I want to cover a couple things this week. It's an abbreviated one. This usually goes for an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. But today, just a short one because I didn't have a chance to do news because the rugby timing was bad. And so we're here for this now. Anyway, just a real quick, give me a second here and check on something. Oh my goodness, they're losing again. Wow. My goodness. So this past, during this week, we had the U.S. government release the statistics for the number of people who've come over in the refugee program for the year. And the number was down around 21,000 or thereabouts, or 37,000, something like that for the year. But that's because people came over in October, November, December, January, and then they were stopped by Trump. And South Africa refugees since then have outnumbered all other refugees, but other refugees have come over. As I reported the news, and they lied about it, and then also I told CNN's Donny O'Sullivan he didn't want to believe me. He didn't like the fact that I was telling the truth because it didn't fit the narrative for CNN. So the number was a lot of people freaking out about how few people came over. But again, I don't think people really appreciate what's going on here. What's really happening with this situation. This is not immigration. This is not, you're not owed a damn thing. And people have been jumping over backwards, jumping through hoops, working 7 days a week, 24/7, trying to get people out of South Africa. And the constant, this, that, and the other is really a bit frustrating. So it is actually a pretty fast pace. And that pace has picked up dramatically since the refugee transits began again in November, after the 43-day shutdown. Unfortunately for those folks, my prediction is going to come true. I did predict that from the 15th of December until the 5th of January, I didn't expect to see any refugees flying to the States, not because the program is shut down, not because it's out of money, not because it's been suspended, but simply because it's Christmas holidays, and government workers tend to go on vacation Christmas holidays. And we typically lose 70-75% of the civilian workforce who go off on the holidays. So during that time, there won't be enough Americans around to process the refugees and to get them to the States and adjudicate their cases and all those things. Now, the vendors, Amerikaners and RSC, still continue to work on your cases and schedule things, but there are some serious breakdowns in this program. And for those of you, I saw a comment, someone said, well, we were supposed to fly, we didn't fly, so should we submit another case? No, you have a case. Why would you submit another case? That doesn't make any sense. You're just going to cause chaos. And that's part of the problem. People have no patience whatsoever. People think that they're special, more special than the other 100,000 people who applied, continually bombarding them with emails and sending questions in and trying to contact people, trying to game the system. Stop it. Stop it. You're part of the problem. And if you're like, well, but we're stuck. Too bad. Too bad you're stuck. That's too bad. There's a lot of interest in this program. Contrary to what the government tries to claim, there's a lot of interest in this program. I'm talking about the South African government. A lot of interest in this program. And people are working their tail off. And someone wrote to me and said, well, my sequence number for the new thing is this number, and then someone else got one number, and they're out of here. You know what? If you all don't want to listen to me and you continue to go into these stupid WhatsApp groups and these stupid Facebook pages and listen to people who tell you things that you can't confirm, well, this person, that person, you know what? It's like, well, my case is worse. How do you know your case is worse? How do you know it's even prioritized that way? Well, I did it first. How do you know that? You know, I got someone sent me an email and I just wasted 40 minutes of my time responding to their email this morning telling them, listen, your case is no more special than anybody else's. And just because you put something in May doesn't mean that you're not being looked at. You have a case now. And now you want to put another case in? What are you drinking? Chibuku? I don't understand that. So here's the irony. A lot of bitching and bellyaching about, well, it's taking so long. They haven't called me back. They're not responsive. I'm sorry. Do you live in South Africa? Have you ever dealt with the South African government? Have you gone to Home Affairs? Have you tried to get your passport renewed or get your birth certificate or try to get a driver's license? And you're going to piss and moan about the Americans a couple months making you wait? Seriously? Seriously. Some of you all need an attitude check. Now, I'm not yelling at my audience. I'm just telling the people, if you're here listening, some of you need an attitude adjustment. You really, really do. Some of you need a PK. Oh, Chris, you're so insensitive. You don't know what it's like. Oh, please. I've been in combat multiple times. I've lived all over Africa. I do know what it's like. I do know what it's like. And I do empathize with people. But people really, really need to check their attitude at the door. They really do. They really need to check their attitude. It's becoming a bit nauseating. You know, instead of mboa makampan, it's cry. Does that come across badly? Well, I'm trying to get a message to people who are just impatient and me. By the way, folks, this isn't one person. This isn't 2 people. This isn't 10 people. This isn't a dozen people. This isn't 50 people. This isn't 100 people. We're talking about hundreds of people who are doing this stuff. And this stuff for people, well, I sent an email in February. Have you sent an intake questionnaire? No. Well, then you need to pay attention. I've been telling people over and over again, if you previously sent an email to PRM or a statement of interest from the 10th or the 12th of May until November 4th, if you don't do the intake questionnaire, you will never be called. You will never be. Are you listening to me? Listen carefully. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? I feel like I'm Chris Tucker here. Don't nobody understand the words coming out of your mouth, Jackie Chan. If you didn't put an intake questionnaire in at this stage, you're not going to be called. Unless you already had a case. Yeah, and Bormack and Plan is long gone. Generations back, the OGs, Bormack and Plan, complain about nothing. Today it's just brandy drinkers sitting in Buc-ee's. Don't need an attitude adjustment ever for the families that had tickets and resigned jobs and sold everything. Trust you to say. Well, Johan van der Heever, you ask a very good question. And I'm going to address this now because now I've been talking about the refugee aspirants. Now I'm going to talk about my government. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you, my government. Are you listening? Are you listening? This total fuck up, this total clusterfuck that you're running. I realize people working their ass off, but part of the reason they're working their ass off because there's no leadership. That's from the outside. Maybe it looks different on the inside, but I'm going to tell you what, telling people to fly 1,000 miles one way, then go 1,000 miles the other way the next day, telling people minutes before they're supposed to be in a meeting where they're supposed to go, booking flights for people, giving tickets to people. Why weren't the people who had tickets the first ones on the plane? Who the hell's responsible for this? That's unacceptable. Do you know how many people I've had to help find accommodation? How many people I've had to help find food so they don't starve to death? And they're still sitting and waiting. And yes, there are still people sitting and waiting who had tickets. But some of you all, let's caveat that, some of you all jumped the gun. I know a family who didn't even have interviews. They sold all their shit. The daughter quit her job. They flew to Joburg or to Pretoria for interviews. They had interviews. And then they lived there for 3 weeks in a guest house. And then they cried to me, I have no money. I have no money. Why don't you have any money? Because we're still here. Well, I thought you said you had your first interview. Yes. And you thought after your first interview you were flying to America? Where did you derive that from? Not from my program. I never told anybody that. People, my government has screwed this up royally from that standpoint. No doubt about it. No question. The people who had tickets from the 26th of September when flights were canceled because of the shutdown, and it's only 2 weeks of people, by the way, so we're only talking about a small number of people, Mr. Van Heaven. It's not a large number of people. But every one of those people should be in the States. Some of them are. Some have been recontacted and they've come to the States, but a lot of them haven't. And that is unacceptable. Unacceptable. There is a degree of complete disconnect from the U.S. government. People have no concept of geography. Well, we want you in Pretoria at 8 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock today. I live in frickin' East London. How am I supposed to get there in the morning? We finish the interview and we drive away. And then we get a text message halfway back to East London. We need you in Cape Town tomorrow for your medicals. What the hell? no geographic understanding, no understanding of the situation here, and beyond that, the stupidity of what's going on. My government is not helping the situation by these people being processed, and these people, and also, y'all need to quit listening to these groups. There's a lot of bullshitters in these groups, okay? Really. Okay, just chill. You need to just chill and listen to what I'm going to say. 2 to 4 weeks is bullshit. It's just a standard de facto pro forma statement. That is a pro forma statement. That's all it is. It's an as if. Okay, guys? It's as if. So they tell you 2 to 4 weeks. Don't get excited. It could be 10 days. It could be 2 days. It could be 2 months. That's a standard answer. Just like the people I wrote to RSC and they sent me an email back and it says the program is paused. That was a standard boilerplate email for the millions of requests that they got when the global program was shut down in January for 9 days. So RSC just put on, the program suspended. So you folks who don't listen to me sent them email. Oh, I haven't heard by 3 months. I haven't heard by 2 weeks. Send me an email. You send them an email and you get no response. And then you're like, well, I get this response. Well, this says it's closed. And then you freak out and contact me and waste your time and mine. Pay attention. That's a pro forma, as if. It is no guarantee you're going to be called in 2 to 4 weeks. Stop believing that. Okay? I don't need a brandy. What? After 1 year, you can travel, or can you only travel outside the U.S.? No, stop right there. Okay, I don't know what that says. Who's saying that? What's the question? If you're a refugee, can you leave America? No, you can't leave America. No, you can't leave America. No, you cannot leave America. Unless you have an extreme circumstance like a family member dying or dead and you need to go. Then you can request permission from the Department of Homeland Security to leave the country. All right? But you're not prohibited from traveling anywhere. You just have to get permission. That's the difference. Exactly. Artie just said it. You have to get your green card first. You get your green card. The 1 year is because you have to apply for a green card within 1 year. People are conflating these things. Husband says either President Trump or Colonel. That's all I know. Watch. Okay. I'm not screaming at anyone, Napoleon Dynamite. You're not listening. You want to hear screaming? You want to hear screaming? OGs, want to comment on that? The original gangster's been here from the beginning. You want to hear about screaming? You want to hear about a rant? You want to hear about me calling somebody out? That wasn't calling people out. That's to get people's attention. Yeah, I don't get this, Fabian. Why do people need to come back? Then you don't need this program. If you need to go back to South Africa, you don't need to be in a refugee program. Why are you applying? You have no business in the program. I had a guy send me an email. No kidding. Okay, so how does this work, and how will who the government's going to contact me so they can ship my pets to America? What? Your pets? No, we don't do refugee programs for pets. Well, what about my book collection? I'm a researcher. Well, what about your book collection? That's on you. Are you a refugee or not? Well, I'm going to need, how do I get the permission? Because I have to come back 4 times a year because I coordinate these historic trips. What? No, dude, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. A refugee, not an immigrant. Exactly, Anton Mulder. If your life's in such jeopardy, see, you just undermine the whole program. I don't know why people are even asking that question. Why would you ask that question? I don't think anybody in Kenya who came from Somalia is going, oh, will I be able to go back to Somalia after I get to America? I don't think anybody's asking that question. I don't think any of the Rohingya in Myanmar are like, oh, can I go back to Myanmar where they can murder and rape us again? No, they're not doing that. Vaynant Muller says he thinks geographic has been sorted. I don't think so. I'm still getting messages, although they've tailed off this week. This here is just him being passionate about what he's saying. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Ingrid says, you'll know when Chris is screaming and people being yelled at. Yeah, Vaynant, you may be right, because I haven't got constant belly aching about that this week. And I'm in a bad way. It's legitimate complaining because people have legitimate gripe, and I've stood up for them. But I'm not getting these constant emails. It's slowed down quite a bit, but I'm still getting a few. May I be greeted? Sure, Jeffru Core. Welcome. Thank you, the 14 Rand. Interesting. What happens after a year if you apply for green card and you get declined? I don't know, GCS fabrication. That has not presented itself. Ostensibly, unless you've committed fraud, you'll still be in the refugee program, so you're still allowed to stay here. I don't know how long you're allowed to stay here, so it doesn't make sense to me. Sonic Boom says, hello from Connecticut. Saw our first snow yesterday. Sonic Boom, we haven't set up an interview with you yet. No, it's with someone else, I think, right? The Somalis do. They go back. I also watch some immigration attorney do live stream, and some Pakistani asylees, they love to go back. Well, that's not legal. And this administration will strip them of their status. We are catching lots of people at airports. So good luck with that. We want to get out because of livelihood in jeopardy. Well, then you can't come. Not about livelihoods. This is not migration. This is not immigration. If your livelihood's in jeopardy, that's not a basis. The gentleman that wrote to me last night, I explained to him. He gave me circumstances, and he has a career and this, that, and the other. I said, well, I'm sorry. You're going to have to do better when you go to I didn't say it like that, but I said, you're going to have to do better when you go to USCIS. You get interviewed. You're not going to get refugee status. Well, my wife is under pressure at work, and I have to be self-employed because I can't get jobs. So what? 30% of South Africans, 40% of South African adults can't get work. 90% of youth can't get work. Well, that's not a basis for coming here. My home's broken into. Well, lots of people. Take a number, Sam. That's nothing to do with anything. You must be a victim of past racial persecution or have legitimate, genuine fear of future persecution. If you can articulate that, you're good. Oh, Corey. Well, welcome to you, Corey. YouTube changed your name. Well, that happens. Yes, Peter Zurcher, people are confusing refugee and immigration. That's the thing that really pisses me off about this sense of entitlement. No one's entitled to immigrate to this country. Yes, Byron Loikars, I know of not a single person other than two fraudsters who tried to slip into the program, and they were not even allowed to apply for it. They were told, Futsek, get out of here. And you know who they are. One of them, his name is Van de Mava. Yep. And that guy is in a lot of trouble. Looks like refugee program rather pick up over the holidays. Last year saw an uptick in November, December. Yep. Yeah, Congo. Oh, now you guys are analysts. You're reading the statements. Yeah, it isn't because of the holidays. January there'll be more people coming, but then remember the government's going to shut down on January 31st. They haven't got any budget approved and no continuing resolution. So if it shuts down on January 31st, by about the 25th of January, people won't be coming anymore. So you only get about 20 days, 3 weeks. Hey, Marshall Eagle, what's up? Those who want to come back are destination shopping. Exactly. Rich people that live in secure lifestyle states. Not entirely, Vody. A lot of people who don't have any money have asked the same question. The lady actually asked if her mother that's coming with refugee program can travel with her first year, not South Africa, but to family in Europe. See, those people don't belong in the program. They don't belong in the program. A lot of people that want to go for the wrong reasons. Exactly. They just want free stuff. You're right, Evan. What happens? Okay, I answered that question as best I could. It's not to get out of Dodge ticket. I think the geographic. Okay. Oh my God, I haven't seen Somalians bring over dogs and cats. That was the Haitians are eating the dogs or eating the cats. Talk about traveling to Europe, Colonel. Not back to South Africa. My grandma wants freedom to visit my aunt in England. She is elderly and doesn't know. Okay, well that's different, Tiger Valley. That's different. If that person is here as a refugee, they can request permission to go to the UK. I don't think you have to have your green card for that for an emergency situation. So you can ask. Okay. Done all the interviews, the medical now, just waiting patiently. Can't thank you for everything. Can't wait to thank you. Okay, you're welcome, Johan. Don't camp in the Colonel's lawn. Why would you want to travel back? All right, so in about 10 minutes, we're going to have Fonz up here. I don't know if he's in the chat right now. Let me just send him a note real quick. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Went to the wrong person. The Zoom desktop is all screwed up now. They've added all these steps to it. It's very annoying. There we go. I've sent it to a group and not to Fonz. Okay. All right, cool. Just jumping the gun like that. You don't sell all your stuff until you have a flight date. Well, some people some people had a flight date and then we postponed flights and they got screwed. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I chewed my government out. Yep. Contact after interviews for our marriage certificate again after it was taken by staff both times to scan in, but being used to home affairs, we just emailed again. Exactly. So Tracy Schaefer, that's exactly right. Anyone that would think that that because you have an interview that you're going, that's just dumb. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. That's just dumb. When you go for a job interview, that doesn't mean you got the job, does it? Thank you, Apocalypse. We appreciate everything you do for us, car guards. If we go over and some stay and the program ends, how will we be able to bring them family over? You won't. They'll have to immigrate. Been waiting since the first Google Sheets intake filled in new way, and now I wait patiently. Oh, thank you, Toothless Wonder. Thank you for that. So thank you both for the super chats. Yeah, no, you don't. If the program ends and South Africa is no longer considered a place for refugees to come, then the people there are stuck. They can't come. They have to immigrate here. That's it. You can't get them over. And that's what they get for waiting instead of getting in the program quickly. Somebody said I should be on the program. My friend that went for his interview told them about me, and they did check on the system. They told him that, yes, they see I was on there, and they will call me soon. Well, that's nice if somebody asks you to check on that. So reach out to you regarding true concerns for refugees in Oregon. We are eternally grateful, but we need advice and help desperately, not details. Email. Is it under Damon? Is it under Damon? Tell me that very quickly before I run out of time here. Is it under Damon? So let me go to, I'll look and see. It is. You sent it this morning. Dude, you sent it this morning at 9:30 and expected an answer already? Seriously? Come on. But thank you for telling me it's there. But, I will contact you. Okay. All right. Well, you're going to need to give me more information. Send me another message and tell me who the Refugee Assistance Office is. Give me the caseworker's number if you've got it, their name, and tell me the organization. I can't do much short of that. Okay? Getting a green card delivery takes 3 to 6 months from the date you file your change. Exactly. 6 families have had tickets before shutdown to fly by the end of September and October. They're still waiting, but they're waiting patiently. Yeah, and hopefully they're not in a bind where they've sold everything. They've got no money. Road traffic inspector and directorate and have not paid their rates and taxes. Okay, that's completely unrelated. Follow the first Google Sheets and done the way. Okay. All right, hang in there, Toothless Wonder. Sorry, not sure how to do the at person. If it's, you just hit the at sign and then the names will appear on the bottom. Here, let me show you. Watch the bottom of my screen. Okay, over here, down here. At symbol, Toothless Wonder, and hit return. And it just pops up. Piece of cake. That's all you do. And then if they're in the chat, then it'll come up. If they've left, they won't be there. Got an email. Okay, Maze, good to see. How long should we expect to get a green card as refugees? Wants freedom to travel to our other family in Europe and doesn't want to wait 5 years. You don't have to wait 5 years for that, Tiger. Look, okay, look, first off, if that's the primary issue for your grandma, then she shouldn't get in the program. All right? Shouldn't get in the program. If her biggest concern is not her life is in jeopardy, but it's visiting relatives in Europe, then she shouldn't even bother applying. Don't waste the slot. She can stay in South Africa and she can go visit her family there as much as she wants. Guys, you priorities. See, your destination shop, your grandmother's destination shopping. She wants out, but only if she can go to Europe. Well, I'm sorry. What if they change the rules? What if they say no one can leave the country when they're under the status? Trump is changing rules all the time. So your grandmother has to make a decision. Does she want to stay in South Africa, or does she want to visit her family in Europe, or does she want to come here and then probably be able to visit her family after a bit of time? That's destination shopping. I'm sorry. You don't get to set conditions. Well, I'll only come if I get my rent paid for. No. I'll only come if I get this. No. Either you're a refugee or you're not a refugee. Either your life is in jeopardy or your life is not in jeopardy. You decide. By the way, that's not directed at you, Tiger Valley. It's just a statement for the crowd, okay? Oh, Johan van der Heeven, yes, people do need an attitude adjustment. Maybe you don't, but let me tell you something, my friend. Let me tell you something. You don't sit here and deal with all the bullshit that I deal with every day. And instead of just ignoring it, I try. I'm getting 2 to 3 hours sleep per day. Somebody wrote to me and said, I know that you're not going to help people anymore because somebody was disrespectful, whatever. No. People need to listen to what I say. I had an inside. I could get a hold of somebody in the government that could affect change for people. And I did that for one of the people that was supposed to be a 59er. And that person Never had the courtesy to tell me they made it to America. Never had the courtesy to tell me they were here. Never had the courtesy to tell me anything worked out for them. So I'm left guessing. And I had to ask my contact, has anything happened? I asked like 3 times and pissed my contact off because I was concerned about the safety of the person. And then that person came to America and started making fucking Facebook videos talking about their experience. And didn't even tell me they were here. So I burned that bridge. That bridge is burned. You're all screwed because I can't use that contact anymore. Because that person misled me. Oh, we're in jeopardy. We have no money. We're stuck in a guest house. We were supposed to go. We didn't have passports. What can we do? And so in good faith, I helped in May when I was still in South Africa. That's what I said. I burned a bridge. I didn't say I'm not helping people. My goodness. My goodness. The number of people I'm helping is just off the charts. It gets very frustrating at times. Anyway. And just because you've had an interview doesn't mean you're approved. Just because you have an approval letter doesn't mean you're coming. They're still doing checks on you all the time. Yeah, I'm tired of people destination shopping too, Maze. Eli Berserker, our lives are in extreme danger. I don't doubt you, but what does that mean? People in townships' lives are in extreme danger. Little kids get shot in drive-by shootings every day. So that isn't a basis for a refugee status. I appreciate it. You need to listen to what I'm saying. If that's what you tell people when you go for an interview, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. That's not a basis for refugee status. You all need to listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. You need to listen to what I'm saying, please. The basis for refugee status, for coming from South Africa, in-country refugee status, to come to America, is not you're a victim of crime. It's not that your wife was sexually assaulted. It's not that you were carjacked. It's not that you can't get a job. Unless it's a consequence of racial persecution. If you can articulate it. Did I say prove? Did I say present evidence? I did not. Articulate. Learn the verb. It's on Google. Google's your friend. To explain. You can explain to someone how you're a victim of racial persecution in the past. You didn't get this job. I sent 33 resumes in to 33 places that had job announcements. Here's the job announcement. Here's the date I sent it in, and I didn't get the job. Look who got the job. A high school graduate with no experience in accounting. I have 20 years in experience in accounting. I didn't get the job. And who was the person who got the job? Black. Who are the other candidates got denied? Now, you may not have all the information, but that's the point. You must articulate. Don't prove, articulate. Persecution, not crime, not crime, not crime, not, you can't get a job. Lots of people can't get jobs. Okay? All right. Well, you guys keep asking for funds and I won't go to get them. I don't really appreciate that attitude. I'm explaining something. It is ungrateful and disrespectful to me, man. I get it every day, but I still help people. Stayed over with a waiting family in Pretoria during my interviews. They had some of your food parcels. Tried the cheese part. It's not bad. Okay, Donald, that's pretty cool. So the food socks. They're not mine. That's from Food Socks from Carl from Black. I do expect that rules may become stricter over time and better identify and prevent fraudulent applications. Done. Okay, Miss Mike, that's good to see. Okay. All right. Is Fonz ready? Let's see. Oh, he is waiting. Okay, got it. All right, he's waiting. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here, folks. You'll be automatically taken over to the other stream. If anybody's feelings are hurt, I don't have a bloody face, Napoleon Dynamite. I have rosacea. Thank you for commenting on my medical condition. I appreciate your lack of empathy. This is a consequence of COVID. Rosacea. Thank you for your lack of empathy because I have rosacea. And you want to hear screaming? You want to hear screaming? That's screaming. That's screaming. Okay? Napoleon. All right, guys, we're going to go switch over to that right now, okay? Reno says, thank you for all you do. You're very welcome. Cool beans. All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah, well, people want to be smartass and talk about screaming. Yeah, well, Arctic, I'm not surprised your feelings hurt. All right, we're going to go off to, you'll be automatically redirected to that, okay? Let me just double check and make sure. There's a nice super chat came in. I can't leave until I get that. Just let me make sure we got the redirect in there. I don't want you to tell you you can redirect then you're not. Okay, it's there. Whew. No. Well, YouTube might not redirect at time. My son and his wife and my grandparents, my granddaughters are having their medicals. I have my pre-screening with Afrikaners, got my case and RC and so forth. You will, when they go, you ask them the link. That's the only way you can do it. When you're in person, ask if you can link the cases. Okay? All right, Suzanne? When the first one that goes, say, can we link these cases? And make sure you have the case numbers, okay? That'll save a lot of time. Here's the other person's case number. Can we link it? And if they link it, they'll do it, okay? Morsh statement says, "Oh my goodness, don't ask why subs aren't climbing." Oh, thank you, Morsh. Thank you for your snarky comment. You see this shit I deal with here? Stupid stuff. Anyway, my goodness. All right, guys, we're going to go over to the interview coming up here in a second. All right, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button. Thanks for the super chats. Very kind of you. And thank you for your questions. A lot of good questions here today. Thanks. Bye-bye.